This is so important. Now, I'm a big believer that every business owner should be preparing to sell their business at some point, because you're going to end your business at some point, whether you like it or not. Unfortunately, it could be that you pass away. It could be that you just decide that you don't want to do it anymore. And in an ideal world, you want to realize value, or you want your family to realize value as a result of your blood, sweat, and tears. And I believe all businesses have some level of intrinsic value that can be sold. The big thing that gets in the way is that most people haven't prepared, or they actually don't think their business can be sold. And I've seen it time and time again. People don't want to sell their business until one day they do. And usually what happens is that they've worked for a long time, they're burnt out, and they get out of bed one day and they go, stuff this, I'm done. I need out now. And they need to fire sell. Coupled with the fact that they don't know about the small business CGT concessions, which in Australia is the most lucrative tax rule that exists. Now, I had another video on social go viral recently about this, and people tore me to shreds because they're like, this is blatant stealing and you're the reason why the roads are in disrepair and we're paying more for going to the doctors. What people need to understand is that these tax rules are put in place by the ATO and the powers that be because they are trying to incentivize people to start, scale, and sell small businesses. So they are there for a reason. It is not a loophole. It is a rule that is written in the tax code. So let me talk about the rule. You have the ability to sell your business for either $2 million or up to $2 million, or if your net assets of the value of the business and your other assets that you've got are less than $6 million, in many cases you can sell the business completely tax-free. So the rules are, one is what's called the active asset rule. So if you have the active asset, meaning that you're running and operating the business and you sell it, you get a 50% tax discount. So that can be used in conjunction with the CGT discount. So what that means is you now get a 75% reduction on your tax, which is pretty phenomenal. Second rule is the 15-year rule. So if you can run your business for 15 years and you sell it, you can have it completely tax-free. There is then the retirement rule, that if you sell the business and you're over the age of 55, you can sell the business tax-free. And we also have the ability to get the money into superannuation. So there's a various number of rules around this. So what we found, we had a situation, we had a client who come to us, wasn't working with us in this transaction. They'd sold the business. I believe the sale price was about $4 million. And they'd seen my video on the small business CGT concessions. And they go, my accountant didn't tell me about it. Can you help me? We looked through the details of the transaction and the accountant had completely fumbled it and they lost out on the opportunity to get the small business CGT concessions. So they ended up paying $1 million in tax as a result of this sale. Like, just life-changing money. So compared to another client of mine, she came to me when she was in a previous business that she'd been in for a very long time. Business wasn't very good. We built out their strategic wealth plan, and I essentially said to her, like, unless something fundamentally changes in your current business, you're not going to be able to achieve your retirement goals. So she decided to sell that business. And she was going to use the proceeds to buy another business. She bought that business, and over the period of 3 years, we built that business up, systemized it, reduced the key person risk with the explicit intent of using the small business CGT concessions. We bought the business for $2.5 million. Over 3 years, we sold it for $5 million, completely tax-free. She then had $2.5 million that she paid off her home. We then built her superannuation savings, and then we actually bought another business, and the plan is to rinse and repeat that strategy again, because you can have multiple bites at the cherry. So these are two fundamental different scenarios. Like one scenario where somebody lost $1 million just by poor planning, and another scenario where somebody's gone from a poor business that wasn't really serving them to a great business with a lot of hard work. They were able to sell for a significant profit and do it without having to pay $1 to